Welcome back to Mike Loves Fanfic. So, I'm just about finishing reading now the fic that I have, the NSW one. So, we're finished with that. Now, let's move on together with something different. So, just a little bit of another fic. So, let's see how much we have so far that we have finished. Right, I'm gonna max this thing. That's better. What do we have right now? What do Let me check. What do we have so far? As far as it is. Okay, so we've done swords, spoilers, I think, red, white, and blue, nine, mining, and this one. So yes, we done with 6 out of 19 picks that I read. So I'm gonna read now called this one. You got me like 0G. It's about 5,068. That's the next one. Just gonna make sure if this is correct, because if this is correct, then that's where I'm gonna read. So yes, you got me like 0G. You got me like 0G is the next pick that I'm reading today. We're at right here at this pick. Do that. Move this wire here. Okay. So yes, I'm at right here. Chapter 2 from across the multiverse. It's called You Got Me Like Zero G. I'm gonna read you the summary. And it's rated T and it's space camp and it's mutual opinion. It's like every other fic that we have is mutual opinion from the regular the regular one shot. And it's 5,000 states, so this might it's gonna take me a very short time for me to do so. Okay? Alright, let's go. So the summary. Lance is back at the Garrison Summer Space Camp for the last time before he starts college. He had been expecting to see Keith again, but he can't say that he wasn't hoping for it. His old rival has filled out a lot in the past 2 years, and Lance's old crush is still going strong. But he's older and more confident this time around. And maybe this time he'll actually be able to woo the boy. Cannot wait. Alright, without any further ado, let's hop on to this fic. You got me like 0G. On the first day of space camp, Lance recognized a familiar mop of hair, which, in retrospect, was a pretty weird way to recognize someone. But the last time he had been here, he'd spent plenty of time glaring at the back of his head. On the rare occasion, he had even tugged at that hair. Lance, you're really pulling his pigtails, Pitch had said far too much for such a tiny body. I'm not. It's clearly a ponytail. Oh my god. His hair hadn't changed much, still longer in the back, framing his face in front, dark and a mess, but looking significantly less greasy and infinitely softer. He had certainly grown up a lot more since the last time Lance had seen him. He was taller, for one, though Nicholas was shorter than Lance, but he had also filled out a little more broader shoulders, thicker arms, lean muscles that were subtle. But yeah, Lance noticed. His face had lost the softness of youth, leaving behind sharp, defined features. His eyes, however, were the same, angled, dark, framed by long lashes, calculating and alert when in thought, soft and sparkling when laughing, both irritations making Lance's insides turn and his heart race. And when faced with the older, hotter version of his first gay crush and the subject of his bisexual crisis, Lance, being older and by hotter himself, with infinitely more charms and confidence, was ready to woo. Hey, Mullet, still living it up in the 80s, says he. He glanced up from where he had been looking through all the itineraries and pamphlets they had been given. He blinked, naive eyes even more dazzling than Lance remembered. Then those thick brows furrowed beneath a heavy fringe, pouty lips pursing. Do I know you? Lance gasped, mouth open and shoulders slumping as his arms go lax at his sides. He cups, straightening, one hand on his hip while the other weighs around vaguely. His recovery is rocky at best, but really? Name's Lance. Nothing. Try again. We were both here 2 years ago. Always fighting for top scores. Lance and Keith neck and neck. Great. Now Keith was just looking at him like he was crazy. Eyes darted for an escape. Lance coolly cracked. He threw his arms up. Seriously, dude? We were rivals. That seemed to cause story recognition. His eyes snapped to his face, searching, frown deepening, cute nose wrinkling. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Finally! You were the loud one, right? What? And yeah, okay. Trying to rebuff that point wasn't the best reaction. But come on. We competed in everything. And that's how you remember me? His brows quirked upward, nose relaxing. Lance could swear he saw the shadow of a smirk at the corner of his lips. Am I wrong? Lance flounders, mouth opening and closing it like a damn fish. In the time it took him to recover, he was definitely smirking, waiting patiently like he was a saint. Not the point, he finally managed to snap, shoving a burned finger in his face. Keith looked at it for a moment before slapping his hand away. What is the point? Exactly, he asked, standing so they were facing us. Lance was extremely grateful for those 2 inches. Made him feel like he had the upper hand, despite the fact that being this close made him weak at the knees. The point is, I'm going to kick your butt this year, he said out of reflex. The balance mechanism that kicked in as he tried not to dwell on the smell of the shampoo and deodorant or whatever the hell that earthy scent was. Great. Smooth, charming. Woo the boy, but threatening to kick his butt. Good plan. A Lance McLean original. Keith cocked his head to the side, eyes landing in the music even as they sparked and sharpened. His smirk was downright lethal, and okay, that wasn't a combo. One that Lance wasn't sure he could survive. Because it worked so well for you last time. Cocky. Cocky, confident, teasing, mocking, challenging. Flirty? Was that what was happening right now? His heart kicked to the double time, but his eyes twinkled. Growing smirk, bordering on a grin. Oh, it is on, mullet. That's spark again. Fire. A lightning smirk. He leaned close, and Lance might have forgot how to read. Bring it, McLean. Oh, he was going down. Figuratively, metaphorically, on the scoreboard. Not like, yeah. Lance was too busy trying to simultaneously ground himself and fight off an impending heart attack to realize he'd have remembered his last name. So well, the battle had just begun because Lance and Keith were the rivals at that time before that. And this is why, from the very beginning in the episode that, yeah, even if they're those on in the past, they were like the enemies. Become the frenemies, become no, becoming girlfriend, boyfriend, or something like that. Becoming a boyfriend. You got that little concept, do you? That was a summer camp, by the way. That was a summer camp before we hit the college. So this is a very different strat if you stay put in this thing. Hopefully you could see me in the light right now because the light is so, see that? Very clear, isn't it? Okay, let's get back to the story. What's the matter, Keith? Scared? I'm not scared. Yeah, that's why you've been practically shaking since we suited up. It's cold in here. Sure, Jan. What? Never mind. They watched as the previous team surfaced, treading water and grinning as they removed their masks. They could hear Pidge and Hunk having a debate behind them. I'm just saying, if it wasn't space, it would be a spacesuit, right? But it's inherently a swimsuit, whether you're in space or not. But if the purpose of it is removed, it wouldn't matter. So you're saying if you wore a suit in space, that would also be a spacesuit. Huh. I guess so. Lancer wanted to be part of the debate, but he had a nervous key to spoke at. It's supposed to emulate working a zero G environment. I know what the exercise is for, Lance. He growled between clenched teeth, put his hands up defensively. Fine, fine. Go get your panties in a bunch, Space Cadet. He just glared at him. But it wasn't quite effective with his arms crossed and shoulders hiked up to his ears. A genuine word pinched to his brows, lips in a full pout. Lance's voice softened. You've done this before. Uh, I no, I haven't. What? But we did this 2 years ago too. He shifted his weight, looking away. Last time I faked sick on the day of this exercise. So you are afraid of water. Flip off, Lance. And then this other. I can't swim. Dude, that's what the scuba gear is for. He grunted, eyeing the water beneath the platform with clear trepidation. If if it's that of the big deal, then why did you call out sick this time? He shrugged. I didn't think you let me. He blinked, a slow, wicked grin overtaking his face. You're right. I wouldn't have. He moved in front of Key, standing so they were close enough for their conversation to spread. Lucky for you, I've been swimming since before I could walk. He tipped his chin perfection, leering up at Keith through his lashes, waggling his brows for emphasis. His smirk was deadly. 2 parts cocky, 3 parts confident, 1 part suggestive, and a dash of charm, all wrapped up in a neat bow and practiced in front of a mirror. Guaranteed to be a kill. It was a sniper, and he was his mark. Boom. Headshot. And if you end up needing a little mouth to mouth, I'm available. He took several slow steps backward, eyes that were leaving Keats, and grin widening as he witnessed the aftermath. Just to put the final nail in that boy's coffin. Just to put the final nail in that boy's coffin. He winked. Look alive, Space Cadet. With that, he hit his mask over his head and let himself fall backwards. As the water engulfed him, he heard the instructors yelling for not waiting for permission to go ahead. It was worth it to see the stunned look on Keith's face. Great eyes and almost private. Red was a good call on him. Okay, don't get me started with that. Do not get me started with that. That was a little good call on Alex. Okay, okay. Don't get me started with that. Do not get me started with that one because this is not an SNW. Okay, it's just the lips. Lance just one up, one up on him, one up on Keith. I mean, he's into the Keith is just afraid of water, and I don't know why he just no, faked sick, fake sick. Uh, am I wrong for this? If I'm wrong here, just prove me wrong. You're kidding me. Did I stutter? Screw you, Keith. I know you got at least 1-4 in your hand. I just said I didn't. Go fish, Lance. Hunk! Hunk looked up from his bed, leaned over as Keith rolled his eyes and showed his hand. No force, dude. He threw his arms up, careful not to scatter his hand as he rattled curses in Spanish. Keith smirked, gesturing to the deck. Your pawn awaits. Pawn awaits? How long are you guys gonna keep this up? Hitch asked, lounging across the foot of Hunk's bed, phone in one hand while the other occasionally reached for chips from the bag lying between them. Until I win, Lance said, shuffling his hand around. We're on the best 8 out of 15 because Lance is a sore loser. He said, leaning against the wall, stretching his legs out until they hung off the edge of his bed. Lance tried not to stare. Shut your trap, Pagani. I want a couple rounds. He smirked, head tilted to the side in a way it does. Had they been alone, and had Lance been braver, he would have been hard pressed to resist the urge to crawl across the bed into his lap. Yeah, only a couple. Shut the hell your mouth. I've won 7. I said shut it. Got any queens? No. Lance? Fine. He handed over his card and stared. Opened his mouth as he laid the rest of his cards. What? I just won. That smirk combined with dancing eyes and different. The hell you did? Let's go again. Everyone groaned. Lance, Hunk whined. Let it go. Hunk, I have a title of master fisherman to uphold. Pitch nodded. Wipe it off her hands. Well, you keep at it then, but I'm going to bed. Later, nerds. She waved over her shoulders as she left the room, headed back to her home. Can we please sleep too? Hunk pleaded, flashing those big old brown eyes. Lance fell back on the bed with an exaggerated sigh, filling his shirt right up as he did so. Fine. He propped himself up on his elbows, declared. Whenever he was going to say next, died on his tongue as he caught Keith's gaze snapping back up to his face. Eyes like being caught doing something he should have. Maybe he had. Interesting. Lance waggled his brows. Like what you see? He asked, giving his hips a little wiggle, which just ended looking awkward in his position. He glared and looked away, proud not quite enough to have the collar creeping on his cheeks. No. Hey, Keith. Hey, hey, hey. He poked out his leg with his foot until Keith looked at him. When he did, Lance saw writing of his own accord. Wanna cuddle? Get off my bed. Are you sure? I'll let you be the little spoon. He kicked them off the bed, and Lance went down laughing. Hunk rolled his eyes as he stepped over him on the way to the back. Okay, let me explain to this portion because this is really, really funny to me. Yeah, because they're playing. I think they're playing goldfish. Goldfish. Yeah, that's the thing. Goldfish. I mean, he won like many times in a row. Lance is such a sore loser. He's a bad loser. I'll tell you that. He is a total bad loser. And Lance wanted to play it again, like double on up, triple on up. Nope, you always lose. Hunk and Paige, they're ready to go to bed because they're waiting for the next day or something like that. And Lance wants to came a little close to Key, but nope, yeet to that person. Okay, let's go back to the story. I'm not gonna say woo because that's for everyone. Woo! Lance went as long as he could before his voice caught over the laugh. He had to breathe and he continued, woo! Are you going to do that the whole time? Keith asked, trying to sound deadpan and annoyed and feeling miserable. Lance tried to look at him, but his was moved too much and far too quickly. This way, that way, up, down, left, right, around again. Going one way, direction change, around again, never the same way for too many rotations. He barely knew which way was up, let alone which way Keith's chair was in. He occasionally got the flash of blue from the worker's shirt from where she operated the multi-axis trainer. He did manage to catch a few glimpses of Keith's rotating chair before focusing on one spot and made him too lightheaded. Yup, he called and said, I'm having fun, and I'm expressing it. Aren't you having fun, Keith? Nope. But Lance could hear the laugh in his voice. He tried so hard to keep it down. He'd be willing to bet that Key was grinning that big goofy grin he got whenever he was in high school. The same one that crinkled his eyes at the corners and made Lance's heart ache. If he continued to make sounds and whoops and cheers that got increasingly ridiculous just because it made Keith laugh, well, no one had to know. By the time the machine stopped and he was unstrapped, he was thoroughly breathless. He stumbled through the gate, putting a hand on it to ground himself. He wasn't as dizzy as he anticipated, but was feeling extremely off balance. Knees like jelly and center of gravity thrown to the winds. He glanced over at Keith, and any air he managed to suck down was instantly kicked from his lungs. Hair windswept and messy, strength escaping from the loosened ponytail, eyes dancing, crinkling, bright and innocent. Smile fixed so firmly in place his cheeks had to be hurt. Those cheeks that were flushed and high, teeth white, lips parted, breathing heavily. Hot damn! Where did that boy get off being so gorgeous? Who allowed that? Certainly not Lance. But he wasn't going to complain. Not allowed anyway. He paused outside his gate, leaned against it for support, and Lance sauntered on over, ignoring how his legs wobbled. He hooked an arm over Keith's shoulder, gestured intimate but friendly, but only partially because he wanted to use the guide to keep from falling over. He didn't push it away, even as they started walking off to the side to get out of the way. Good luck, buddy, Lance said, holding up his free fist for Hunk to bump as they passed. Thanks, he said, offering them a weak smile. He looked pale, face already sweating and contorted in worry and apprehension. Shoulders hunched, hands twitching, feet a little pointed in. This was definitely not Hunk's favorite activity, and it showed. Poor guy. Paige, on the other hand, was bouncing on the balls of her feet and couldn't get to the seat fast enough. Once she was gestured over. As they walk away, he leaned in to loudly whisper, "Bitch, Hunk's gonna puke." He glanced at him, brows furrowing slightly, as lips pursed. Not a frown, as Lance used to speak. Momentary confusion. He was learning to read Keith's expressions, but they're built with a firm center of gravity with rotational patterns so people don't get nauseous. Lance just smirked, holding up a finger and giving a knowing look. True, but Hunk defies the laws of physics. Lance pulled his arm back as they reached the wall, leaning against it with the other people who had already had their turn. He didn't have to miss the closeness for too long, however, because Keith leaned into his face, their arms touching, heads bowed close as they whispered and snickered amongst themselves. Lance ended up winning the bet. So okay, so this is the moment of all right. I think they get in, I think they get it now. I think they get into this relationship between the two of them because they're in a camp, so you'll never know what's gonna be. You never know what you're gonna do in the camp. Okay, it's a space camp, so you're gonna experience yourself from going to the space as a life on it. Oh, by the way, I think they're probably around 18 years old. I think because this is the setting a camp before Lance going to college. So this is like 18 years old, probably. I might be wrong, but you didn't tell me otherwise. Okay, I'll get back to this. I'm gonna call you Rover, Pip said fondly, sitting across leg on the table with a computer in her lap, wires attaching to the unfinished robot next to her. You're gonna name a rover Rover? Kate asked, voice went as expression. It didn't sound judging, but just curious. Paige glared at him over the top of her glasses, pushing them out her nose slowly. Yes. Got a problem with that? He blinked, expression unchanged as he shrugged. Nope. She nodded. Good, because I'm named him Rover, whether you like it or not. You know what we should add? Lance said from where he leaned back. He propped out on the table, held to the back as he tried to bounce a wrench across the bishop's nose. A cup holder. Uh, why would Rover need a cup holder? This time there was more frustration expressed in a adorably confused voice, a little wrinkle in his nose. Why wouldn't it? It's in space. But this one isn't going to space, and it can bring us drinks. That's stupid. You're stupid, Kate snorted. Oh, Hunk looked up from where he was scribbling an equation on their schematics. But what if we made a cup holder that doubled as a claw slash pinching thing? Bitch paused for time. Tilted her head as his expression softened into something intriguing and thoughtful. You could see the gears turning behind those emerald eyes. He shrugged. I'm down. It'll be easy to program if we can build it with all the appropriate weights and strength and stuff. Keith and I can definitely build it, he said. Then lean over and I will keep it in your mouth. Right, Keith? His smile was being warm and genuine. Keith looked away. Shy smile and small, making Lance heart melt. Yeah, shouldn't be too hard to construct and attach. Awesome. I'll go grab more materials. Make Lance help you. He's not doing anything. Excuse? I'm a very important part of this team, he said, glaring at Keith as he held the wrench to his upper lip like a mustache. Doc got to give another small snort of amusement before reaching out and pushing Lance's feet off the table. He rocked forward, letting out a small yelp of protest. You just been sitting there playing with tools. I've been passing them out occasionally. He just stared at him. Why not race? That's wrong. What? Engineering and program aren't my things. I'm more of an action kind of guy, an idea guy. He looked like he was about to argue when he spoke up. He's actually a surprisingly good person to have on the team. Thank you. He glanced between them before that. Really? He didn't sound convinced. Yeah, Hitch went on without looking away from us. He's creative, doesn't get in the way, and Hunk should keep the thing he does. Keith cocked an eyebrow. What thing? Hunk didn't answer. Instead, he pushed the papers across the table and held out Spencer. Here you go, buddy. Lance took it in a flashing grin before a spoonful. He put the eraser to his cheek. Eyes moved over the schematics. They had diagrams and blueprints, and off to the side was a list of equations that Hunk had scribbled out that needed solving before they could move forward in the room. He set the pencil to the paper and started writing. A few minutes later, he leaned back, signed the papers across the table with the triumphant grin. Ta-da! He blinked, then picked up the pages. Hunk looked over her shoulder, eyes scanned them quickly before being at Lance, giving him a thumbs up. Lance returned. You can double check with a calculator if you need to, Mutt, Lance said, leaning back and staring. But I guarantee they're correct. He looked at him, brow furrowed, an expression incredulous. How? Lance shrugged, grin fading into a common smirk as he started twirling the wrench between his wrists. That comes easily. Just makes sense. It's like having a walking calculator and a converter around. Hunk added. Keith was still staring at him, and Lance preened under expression. Impressed? He purred. Keith's lips pursed, eyes ironed down to the paper before flickering back a little. The sheepish smile that curved Keith's lips combined with the soft look he was giving him was enough to make Lance lose his concentration and drop the wrench. He landed on his knee, and he jumped, yelping. Keith chuckled, hiding his smile with a hand, a little less impressed now. Lance pushed himself to his feet, sticking his tongue out at him as he followed Hunk to get more material. Okay, so they're building something that can that resolves the equation for I think it's like a rocket or how the accuracy of landing any kind of the stuff that they teach you about the space, lift off or something like that, get countdown, and how to build a rocket ship. So I think this is like building those rocket ship and how they measure the accuracy or something like that. But hey, they're working together as a team. So there's no enemies or anything. There should be no enemies in the team. So no enemies allowed on the team. Okay? Alright. Lance was having trouble sleeping. Not that it was a new phenomenon. He'd been having trouble sleeping since he arrived. It was getting past the keep trying point and quickly approaching the effort point. After hours of tossing and turning, he gave up. He slipped down from his top bunk as silently as he could, dressed in sweatpants and t-shirt, and slipped out into the hall on soft feet. His temporary dorm was in a different hall than it had been last time, but it wasn't too hard to find its way. Corridors were dim but still light enough to see by. There was an emptiness that made it eerie, a silence that made his ears ring. He kept a hand on the cinder block walls, rough texture keeping him grounded, and confident as his eyes darted around for any sign of movement, snapping at every second. It was only because of this alert and cautious state that he caught sight of the familiar mop of dark hair, the quiet steps, the red hoodie. The observatory was empty, just like he predicted. A large room, mostly empty, with a domed ceiling that was dark and twinkled with stars. It was used to teach his constellations by day, but by night it was Land's private sanctuary, peaceful and quiet, a place for him to go and relax and calm his rampaging thoughts, a place that felt like home. He walked to the center of the room and lowered himself to the floor, lying back and propping his hands behind his head as he waited. He walked in only moments later. Door creaking open, a pause, hesitant steps. A pace filled his vision, beautiful even in the shadows. What are you doing? He asked, voice hushed and recklessly, but genuinely curious. Stargazing, he said simply, gesturing to the ceiling. He tilted his head back, and Lance took a moment to appreciate the curve of his neck. But why? Couldn't sleep. Why are you here? He shrugged. Felt the bunk bed move. Saw you leave. Decided to follow you. Sorry. I tried to be quiet. Not sure. I'm a light sleeper. Not a big deal. Well, since you're here anyway, want to join me? He asked, patting the rough carpet beside him. He thought he might have seen the smile on his face, but it could have just been the shadows. Sure. He lay down next to him, hands resting across his stomach, their shoulders brushing. They lay in relaxed silence for several long moments, moments that stretched and collided into one another, layering two of them blankets of darkness and comfort in the presence of the other. Gazing up at the twinkling lights, there were no replacements for real things, but still pretty close. If he let his mind wander, losing his grip on reality, he could pretend that the two of them were together, stargazing in the hill outside town. Reach over and take Keith's hand, thumb stroking over his knuckles. His head rolled to the side, catching sight of him, drinking him in. His profile was just as beautiful as the rest of him, accenting the angles of his features, dim lights from the ceiling softening his curves, pale skin glowing, fractured by shadows. His eyes were soft, dark pools sparkling with the stars, refracting them like the calm depths of the ocean at night. His lips were relaxed, parted just slightly, practically begging for him to. Dangerous thoughts, dangerous thoughts, dangerous, tempting, self-indulgent thoughts, thoughts that could so easily turn to actions. Here in the dark, lit by the artificial stars, in a room and space that felt so far removed from reality, a place where possibilities became their own realities, when pressed upon by will and desire. Man snapped his gaze back to the ceiling. Bet I can name more constellations than you. It could hear the smirk in Keith's voice. You're on. As it turned out, they were pretty evenly matched. They came right down to arguing over who said what first in hushed and harsh whispers, cut with breathy laughs and dry sarcasm. The argument ended without a clear winner, fading off to none as they lay on their sides, facing each other, knees curled and bumping, heads bowed close, hands hovering in the space between. Lance could see the stars out of the corner of his eyes. The key held all of his attention, drawing him in like a black hole. Hook, line, and sinker. He went to fishing, and Lance was caught. Didn't want to be thrown back. Keep him, gut him, do whatever he wanted. Lance was his. What's your favorite constellation? He found himself asking. He glanced up, and Lance liked to mention a blush on his cheeks. Draco. Lance snorted a short laugh, devolving the chuckle before it could slap a hand over his mouth to stop him. Oh my god, you're such an edgelord. Kate glared at him. Honestly, Patty, what's yours then? Lance grinned. The Big Dipper. Kate blinked. Brows fishing. Really? Lance smiled softly. Eyes drifted down to space with him. Yeah, it was the first constellation that my older brothers showed me, and it used to be the only one I could find. I taught it to my younger siblings, and whenever we went out at night, it was a competition to see who could spot it first. That's actually really cute, he said, soft and thoughtful. Then started, manga credits. When are you gonna realize I'm always cute? I'm starting to. It was soft but genuine, and once the word sunk in, Lance felt heat creeping up his neck. A string of incomprehensible sounds and words flashed through his mind like a red-headed light flash. He couldn't bring himself to look at Keith, but he was smiling. He knew it was. He could feel it, small and strong, refusing to budge. The silence stretched between them, awkward but not uncomfortable. Awkward in its newness, in its uncertainty, in all the possibilities that laid out before them, but none of them yet taking shape. Why couldn't you sleep? Keith asked, voice soft as it broke through the moment, but tone curious with an edge of knowing that at Lance, the living Keith was more perceptive than he gave credit for. Lance shrugged, putting an elbow beneath him and propping his cheek up in his palm. His eyes were on the flow, fingers idly picking at the short, rough strands of the carpet. Just a lot on my mind, he said softly. Or perhaps it was the comfort of their little bubble of space. Or perhaps it was how they felt segmented from reality. But either way, he found himself confused. Homesick, mostly, which is ridiculous because I'm only here for a couple of months. But it just makes me think about how I'll be starting college soon. And I'll be leaving home for months at a time. And just, I don't know. I find it hard to make my brain stop sometimes. Just thoughts all the time. He reached out there. One hand falling over Lance without hesitation, but still with a slowness that allowed Lance to pull away if he wanted to. He didn't. Warm, countless fingers covered his own, shrugging almost reverently over his knuckles. It was comforting. It was intimate. It made his blood sing and his stomach flutter. He wasn't sure how he ever felt this room was grounding, because right now he felt weightless. I get it, he said simply. And though he didn't elaborate, Lance got the impression that, yeah, really did. Thanks, he muttered, flipping his hands around to hold Keith's properly, tying their fingers together slowly, warily, smiling when Keith forewent the hesitancy and pushed right into it, holding him tightly, like they were always meant to be that way. What college you're going to? He asked after a moment, voice curious with an edge of something Lance couldn't quite place. I'll tell you University. He glanced up in time to see that smile form, slow and steady, like a wave caressing the shore without breaking, spreading his lips and pushing out his cheeks, crinkling his eyes. Me too. Lance felt his own smile previously. Really? Yeah, breathless. Why he was so breathless? I guess we'll be seeing more of each other then. I hope so. Hey, Keith? Lance asked, feeling his gut twist and flutter, feeling the heat on his face and the nerves prickle along his skin. Electricity, sparking fire. His breaths came short and shallow, as if breathing deeper might bring him to his senses and stop him. Voice barely above whisper, like volume might shadow fragile movement between them. The pocket of space that was brimming with possibilities and things left unsaid. Yeah? Equally soft, equally hesitant, looking up at Lance through those long lashes and the thick fringe of his hair. Dark eyes lit with pools of shadow that caught stars, trapped them until the sky was in his gaze. Face pale as the moon. Can I kiss you? Heart in his throat, words foreign, barely heard above the ringing notes. Yeah, breathless, barely audible. More spoken in the way he licked his lips, in the way he leaned forward, in the way his eyes caught Lance and refused to let go. He wasn't sure who closed the distance. All he knew was that he was close, his breath fanning up over his lips, his cheeks. Nose was brushing, a touch so light and yet so intimate, lips on his, chapped but soft, firm with intention but pliable in eagerness, shifting closer, legs intertwining, his own hand running through that thick hair, pulling it out of his pretty face and holding them close. Sounds escaping both of them, mixing and mingling in the dark space. Come together, break apart, push and pull, lip searching, claiming, again, again, again. Soft kisses, harder kisses, sloppy with inexperience, but growing more focused, more purposeful, more confident as they leaned each other. He felt dizzy, emotions and happiness filling his chest, making him feel light. He could barely feel the floor below them. All he could feel was Keith. Keith's lips, Keith's body, Keith's hands. Keith, Keith, Keith. He was lost, and he didn't want to be found. Flown away, higher, higher, gone. Somewhere between the earth and the stars, flown like zero gravity, weightless and breathless. Lance realized he might be in love. Whew. All right, folks, we're done with this one shot. It was a truly experience and it felt like out of this world. It was so out of this world, and you could definitely feel that towards the end, you know. Really good story. What a good way to end that particular story. And I really like it so much. Let me check what have we done so far. So we've done zero G, just finished that. Spoilers, this, 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 and this. So we're done. So time to spin the wheel right now and see what are the remaining parts we're gonna clear this day. So yes, it's Cupid's ball, clouds of apples. Okay. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hope I just number. I have 19 I read, okay? I've read 19 of this. 7 out of I've done 7 out of 19 already. So okay. So I'm gonna have another fit next week. It's just another of this pick. Alright? Let's get spinning the wheel and see where I land on. Whoa. Okay. It's you got me like space pops. Again, we're going back to the space theme again. So da 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 right here. So definitely of course this is another canon divergence, so right back into and there's some sickness involved, there's pining, it's as a comfort, there's comfort. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do right now at this point. So oh, we're into it. We're getting into the surprise. Cool. All right. So let me know what we had so far. So I'm gonna have to recap that. 7. So we've done 7 out of 19, and this is what I'm gonna read next week. So definitely, so this will definitely cover out the 7 as well. I've done one in the beginning, one in the end, and this now in between all of these 6 picks that I had. So once I enter there 8, so we're down 3 to 6 here, and then 13, 19. So we're somewhere in between. Okay, guys, that's enough about it for this video. I will see you next time. All right, goodbye.